Hey everyone, this is another small data engineering project that I just finished. It's based on this tutorial, and honestly it took me about 3 hours to finally get it done. There is not that much except that we're doing a bit of ETL jobs. So we take a data set from Kaggle. It is trending YouTube video statistics broken down by countries. So there is Canada, Germany, Russia, Mexico, Japan, and so on. So the dataset looks like a bunch of trending videos, the names. This is the YouTube channel, YouTube title, and I downloaded this dataset, but not to my local machine because my internet is too slow. Actually, the one thing that I learned here and the thing that was different from this YouTube tutorial is that I did not use my local machine. Well, I started downloading the dataset. It's about 500 megabytes unzipped, and my internet is too slow, so I decided to spin up an EC2 instance. So I started an EC2 instance, the free tier instance, downloaded the dataset there, and in order to do this, I actually had to install the Kaggle API. I had to get the Kaggle token, Kaggle API token, put it into the instance, install all of the additional libraries, and finally I was able to authenticate from my EC2 into my Kaggle account and download the dataset into EC2. And then from this EC2, I actually authenticated to S3. I gave permissions to authenticate to S3 and finally uploaded the dataset to S3. So this is one particular interesting skill that I learned. Actually, data scientists sometimes don't have to download the entire dataset to their local machines. They can do everything online, right? So this is one thing that I learned. After I downloaded the dataset to S3 bucket, I switched to working with AWS Glue. AWS Glue allows you to create a data catalog. This is what I actually learned. Data catalog is a metadata store. It basically stores the data about your data. So you can basically just give it your entire data set. You can specify how it should crawl it, and it starts the crawler. The crawler basically is a bot that describes your entire data set. So this table is not an RDS table. It is a database that contains data about my data. This is a metadata store. So it doesn't actually contain data itself. It basically describes what kind of columns I have, right? And here you can see that this data set, it basically has these fields, kinds, e-tag, snippet, channel, title, assignable. And you can actually see that I have all of these things here. After I've done this, I switch to Lambda. And in my Lambda, I have the following code. This code basically does, well, this is the gist of it, right? It does the JSON normalization from Pandas library. It does the JSON normalization. It basically puts all of the JSON lines on the same, on one line. It turns them into one-liners. It removes the curly brackets and puts them into one-liners. So after this, I was finally able to download the process the cleaned and transformed data set to S3 bucket, to a new S3 bucket, and the gist of it, in the end, I can actually query my entire data set using Amazon S3 Athena. So Amazon Athena is an analytics service. It has a query editor. As you can see, I'm retrieving the first 10 rows from the data catalog. This is based on the AWS Glue data catalog. So this crawler that was running here, that was creating this table, so it's actually retrieving data based on the metadata store. It's not just going right into the raw data set that I downloaded. It retrieves all of these rows, as you can see, all of these columns based on the crawler, and the crawler stored the metadata here. So this is what I learned today. Honestly, it took me about 3 hours to get this whole scheme. Actually, this scheme is not done. It's only partially executed. So out of all of these components, I have a landing area. My data lake is pretty simple. It has a landing area with the raw data. It has the cleansed and enriched area, which I was able to do with the help of AWS Glue, data processing, and Lambda. And for analytics reporting, I use another S3 bucket, which is linked directly to AWS Athena. So Athena looks into cleaned data that is located in my analytics reporting S3 bucket, and the next thing I can do is probably attach it to QuickSight. Yeah, I will be able to do it with QuickSight. Anyways, it's not really a big project, but it was kind of tedious. And the thing that I learned here is that it's actually sometimes it can be tedious to attach all of the necessary IAM roles. Yeah, I guess that's about it. Thanks, folks.